Hi everyone, welcome back to the Dark Pixel Podcast. My name is Mike.
I'm Landon.
I'm Kason.
I've had a crazy weekend. I was trying to move, and then I moved, and then I couldn't move in, so I had to move back here again.
It's a good thing you didn't sell your contract.
Oh, dude,
Everything
if you had
is-
sold this.
If I had sold it, oh man. Everything's a mess right now. But I sort of got my setup back over here, so we figured we'd do a podcast.
Yeah.
Topics.
Yeah, so just a few news items. Number one, Sonic Forces. This is today for us. Sonic Forces character customization has been revealed, and Sega's going to be trying to revive some of their old IPs too on this vision towards 2020. I think they're talking about
Shiny Force.
Shiny Force.
Shiny Force.
And then also we want to talk about the Zelda mobile title leak. There's not much to say, but it's going to come after the Animal Crossing mobile game. So then we got user questions. Taysind's Gaming Spot is summed up is asking, so my question is, how do each of you shape your gaming lifestyle / time commitments playing such games around other aspects of your adult life? They have a hard time getting games completed in a quick enough time period to remember like the whole story.
Yep.
We've got one from the Colonel. Sandwich between two X's. It's classic. That makes me think of Xbox Live every time. We're like playing Call of Duty.
X.
Yeah. My question is, do you guys think video game types are cyclical in nature? Do you think audiences will grow tired of these open world games again, like what seems to occur with the height of the 90s when linear RPGs were the most popular games like Pokemon, Ocarina of Time, Final Fantasy VII? So cyclical nature of game types.
Cyclical nature of society, really.
Everything.
Like basketball jerseys. We'll get to that later.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
They're starting to get sleeves on them now.
NBA logos.
Oh my gosh! Well, I saw this thing I was talking about in Casino Royale. They have Bond wearing like these really, really, really small swim trunks. And I was thinking like that's like the old Bond, because they were always wearing the small ones.
Yep. Goes around, comes around. So I didn't see this. You guys watched the Sonic Forces thing.
Yeah.
It's an interesting trailer. It has one really cool part in it, and that is not the character customization. It shows like there's like a side-scrolling, level. Everything's 3D, kind of like the new Super Mario Brothers, but it's Sonic and it's side-scrolling, and it looks pretty sweet. I kind of want to.
So it's a 2D platformer, but with like 3D characters.
I think similar to Nier Automata.
It goes back and forth.
It kind of maybe changes modes because they showed a ton of 3D footage and then a little bit of that side-scrolling footage, but it's for the same game. So we'll see how.
So
no, what they're going to do is on the top screen it'll be in 3D. Behind the character on the bottom screen it'll be.
That would be crazy.
That'd be sweet.
A remake that's like side-scrolling.
That'd be freaking awesame.
You have like Sonic's first-person view on top.
Yeah, dude.
That would be wild.
Everything outside of that part. They showed Sonic. They showed them playing as Sonic for that portion, right?
When the old Sonic and the new Sonic.
Which look the same.
They look so similar.
The generations and then like the modern guy.
Yeah.
One that has like longer legs and like a little bit taller.
Slightly longer
I think
hair,
the one from the cartoon.
Not
right?
And then like
different.
the old school Sonic's like a little like rounder.
Yeah.
Little rounder.
It's like when Mario
Very
goes
similar when
back
they're
and does like old Mario, it looks pretty different. When Sonic goes back, it's like, basically the same.
So the character customization wasn't cool. That sounds sick to me.
We don't know what the extent is. I don't know. I don't know.
It looks interesting. Like if you wanted to make your own Sonic-ish character, because it's still like it appears to be themed after some type of like animal. Still, you pick like
there's
birds, animal
frogs,
or whatever.
hedgehogs,
At least according to one guy on Twitter.
They all kind of looked like Kermit the Frog to me.
Kermit
They
the
all
Frog.
looked a little
Well,
weird.
I think they're kind of
funny.
supposed to be
They're
a
really
little
skinny.
plain on purpose, right?
Yeah, really plain.
And then most of the customization appears to come in the form of like clothing items.
Yeah, gloves.
I don't know if there's things you're gonna unlock, or if like the Me creating system, you just have all these things and make your guy look like whatever you want.
Yeah.
But apparently,
I feel like you did see people playing as Sonic.
Yeah.
And apparently you can also play as a custom character, right? But as long as you can play as Sonic,
it's no big deal.
it shouldn't be a problem. But I think I've seen a lot of people have issue with this since it's been announced. Yeah. A lot of people are really upset about it, and it's you don't have to do it.
Even
I don't
DeviantArt,
think.
DeviantArt's official Twitter account tweeted now everyone's like, Sonic original characters can be like canon.
That's right.
It's actually part of the series.
So it didn't show like how in depth the character creation was. It didn't show like
It showed a bunch
did
of
it
types.
show them
and-
like stretching the face like in
They
Super
did
Mario
not like
64?
that.
I don't remember
No.
them showing any of that. No.
Like,
Moving
it didn't
the
look like you
eyebrows
could
up
do
and down.
that.
a
And,
longer
like,
nose or a shorter nose.
gaunt face, like change the color.
It did. They all did appear to be like really skinny.
It's not like robots
yeah,
will be
they were
able to
very
create a character in this and
One of his
put like freaking like
Colored
huge
face.
lips on it. And, like,
I
huge
don't think you can
underbody.
go that far, but I don't know. They didn't show a ton of it. They mostly just showed here's the body type, here's the face type, here's the clothes you can put on it, and that was kind of the extent of it.
Yeah.
But as far as how customizable the face is, I mean, we'll see.
So
it could be pretty crazy.
It does appear that the animal type you choose as a base has something to do with like some skills you'll have in the game too. So
Yeah.
there could be reasons why you might want to play as
So how many
someone
different-
not Sonic.
as a
Animal
bird
bases
type.
are there?
It looked like with the
5 or
list I was looking
6?
at, yeah, there was quite a few, and they all had different skills that had
So
something to
if,
do with the rings.
if there's a bird, you just like
Yeah.
fly over the freaking
I think
stage.
the bird has like double jumps or something like that.
Oh,
Some kind of, but they didn't
Yeah.
show that. Of what I've seen, they haven't shown any of that. They just showed in the trailer
That
like
you
someone
could
with kind of
maybe
like a
do it.
fox.
Yeah.
Maybe a hedgehog. I'm not really sure. Some kind of mammal. So there's a bear apparently.
Ein Bär.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
So like I mean,
I-
I'm always down for customization in games. Like that's pretty cool. But I'm just not like I haven't been impressed by a Sonic game since the Dreamcast. Like whatever that one was
Sonic,
that launched with
the
the
Sonic,
Dreamcast.
the first 3D one. What was
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure.
it? Sonic
right?
Adventure.
Was that what it
no,
was?
Pretty sure.
I can't
maybe.
remember. But
We're
Did
not.
they not
We're
put
not.
one
We're
on
not
the-
Sonic
No,
heads.
no.
Forgive us.
We aren't.
Super.
I know about Final Fantasy. I don't know about Sonic.
So, but I remember being blown away. Like I thought that was so cool. But that was partly because of the hardware of the Dreamcast and everything. But
That's right.
So-
it was such a new
this is
thing.
there's definitely people out there that are stoked about this. But if you're upset about it, does
What was with
Don't-
that naming convention for early 3D games? It was like it was either title of the character Adventure or title of the character 3D or title of the character 64. If it was on the 64.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Or
like
if
this-
you were Sega,
Yeah.
Virtua something.
It's like this game 3D, this game 64, this game Adventure was like
That's
what it was
funny.
called in its first
Yeah,
like 3D like
whatever.
form.
Yeah, getting away from the 2D.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that
I
before.
don't know what the deal was with that.
Now it's Sonic Forces, so which looks like the Shadow Complex logo kind of to me. I don't know. I don't know if you
I
guys
can't
have
remember
seen
seeing
It's
it.
like a star-looking thing, and it looks a little grungy. They've shown you fight giant, robots and stuff.
Yeah, and Sonic can literally like shoot through them, kind of like Casern.
Yeah.
Like he jumps up and he powers up and he just like, and then he lands like straight out of Casern. That
Yeah.
whole
If you can play as your
whole
character
thing.
and then have two Sonics running around with you, that's kind of cool.
yeah.
Something different. But yeah, I agree that side-scrolling part looked pretty sick.
Yeah, that was my favorite part because I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, and once again, we are not Sonic heads, although this does seem interesting. I don't think they've done like a 2D Sonic
like
since
a new Sonic
I
Mario
think
Brothers.
they have.
early on, right? Have they done one?
I think it was Sonic 4. I'm gonna have to look that up, but I think a game called Sonic 4 was a 2D, like a new Super
Like
Mario
a 3D,
Brothers
like
Side
New Super
scroll that
Mario.
had depth.
but it's a 2D.
So I haven't played one of those yet, so I'd be interested in that. That was my favorite part of the trailer.
There was a fan made one
Yeah, I saw that.
that
I know that fans
was
have done that.
and like Sonic Colors, I think was that way as well. That was on the Wii. Again, I have not played any
Yeah,
Sonic
I
games.
know.
Period. So I
Really?
don't know that
man.
much about Sonic. I've played
I played
Sonic
the old ones.
2 on the Genesis. Well, maybe it was because the original Sonic was on freaking
Game Gear.
on the one before.
Genesis. Oh,
the Master System. And then I don't know if they like. I should stop talking about
I
this.
don't know. I know.
All I'm
I've
saying
played a bunch of the
is
old
that there
ones.
has been a Sonic 3D model
But
running
side-scrolling.
sideways.
Okay.
There has been one.
Cool.
Before now.
Oh my god.
I've seen that.
I would be
I've
more
seen
interested
that
in
fetch
that
before.
than everything else they're showing.
I like we were bringing it up about Nier though the idea.
Yeah, it's kind of like mixed,
meshing up,
yeah.
mashing together genres is pretty cool.
Yeah, Nier did a very
Knows
good
how
job
much
of
of
that.
there,
The recent one.
there really is, but and then Sega's talking about reviving some old IPs as well.
Yeah, the road to 2020, right?
Yeah, so
They got a couple
like,
years to...
there's a lot of things
So
that could
reviving old ones, revamping current ones,
be. Yeah,
and making new ones,
and acquiring
new IP.
new IPs
So-
from possibly other places. From
This
outside
would,
of
it would
Sega.
be so sick if they could get some Konami franchises, to be honest, like Castlevania or like
if Sega brings back Castlevania.
shoot, what was that other one
That'd be pretty
that's a Konami that
Contra?
I really loved? No.
Metal Gear Solid.
Well, Metal Gear Solid, but I don't think they'll give
I'm
that
just-
one
I know
up.
they
But
won't. They wouldn't.
oh gosh, what is it? It's
What's the gameplay
it's Suikoden, I think.
Oh, Suikoden.
okay.
Oh,
I believe that was Konami.
That was Konami?
Wasn't it?
I think it was.
Because I think that came out on the PS1. Oh, you're right.
Interesting.
I could be wrong. That maybe that was more like a.
Huh.
I know it's not.
Yeah,
Namco.
I don't know who
I know
made
it's not
that, actually.
Namco.
I can't think of.
I'm
who made
pretty
that
sure
either.
it's Konami.
See, before this, I would have guessed Sega, but I know it's not Sega. So
Right. Well, because they would have made it for the Saturn.
You know what?
Right.
I
That's
don't
true.
want to hear any people in the fetching comments call me casual. We got to look up if Suikoden is Konami or not.
let's see.
I'm like basically 95% sure it's Konami.
You know, Sega should buy Pac-Man. That's what they should buy. They can make a sweet Pac-Man
Made
game.
by Konami.
Konami
I
could
was
work.
right.
It
You
is.
can't tell me I'm wrong. I'm right. Anyways, it'd be cool if Sega could acquire a franchise like that.
Something that's kind of been left
Yeah.
by the wayside.
Yeah, they haven't
and-
done anything with it. It's
yeah.
got a super huge like niche following. People that would be so happy for another one to come out. Really cool RPG, and Sega I think would be a
Yeah.
good fit for that kind of game.
So that,
personally. I think that
on Reddit, someone posted a poll that Sega did, and I think it was probably honestly a poll that was conducted in Japan, but there was a poll about what IPs people wanted Sega to bring back, and the number one by far, it was like 2,400 units. I don't know what if it was votes, then like no one voted in this poll, but the number was 2,400 for Sakura Wars, and then
I was Sakura Wars, yeah.
and then behind that was oh gosh dang it was the open up you piece of crap crashed.
Was it Monkey Ball?
No, those space not Jet Set Radio.
Phantasy
crap.
Star. Jet Set Radio?
No, it was. One second.
Triumph-
I'm going to
Triumph
find this 'cause I
Virtua?
can't just leave you guys hanging here. I can't believe that.
Virtua Fighter.
That was terrible timing.
we
but-
should probably edit this podcast.
One thing they were talking about doing was up to March 31st, 2018. They're planning on like expanding sales of Persona.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
either that means
Switch.
the fighting games, the dancing games. You know, I don't know what, but
Or that means a Switch. Persona 5 Golden, Switch
or
confirmed.
well,
Gonna
Oh,
have-
Jet Set
there it is.
Radio
Jet
was
Set.
number two.
It was
Radio,
Jet
so
Set
I
Radio.
don't know. This can't be number of votes because if this is number of votes, then like
People
they got, like,
talking about
3,000 responses.
Shenmue. That's already fetching happening. Dude.
I know, right?
Yeah, not from Sega, but...
Yeah, Virtua Fighter.
Why is Shining
Panzer
Force
Dragoon.
so far down this list?
I don't know.
Shining Force is 7 and Skies of Arcadia is 8. That's
This
bullcrap.
was a Japanese poll, so maybe they just don't care. It's sometimes it's surprising what franchises.
Holy
Japan's
crap!
now
Alex
is into.
Kidd made the list.
I
Alex
know, like
Kidd.
who's like, where's my Alex Kidd, man?
Kenny McLean would say that.
Is he? Oh, really?
Jeez.
Kenny McLean would say
I
that.
played Alex
Man,
Kidd.
we've been
That's
in an Alex Kidd drought. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Like
Shinobi's
25
12.
years.
That's weird.
Shinobi,
See-
dude.
See,
Bring
no,
that
no,
back,
no.
man.
Shining Force has got to go way up there. Skies of Arcadia's got to go
Streets
way
of
up there.
Rage, man.
Streets
Yeah,
of
bring
Rage
that
got to
back.
go up there. Shinobi's got to go up there. Alex Kidd's got to go up there.
Daytona USA down here at number 19.
I mean,
don't
I've
know, that
never-
was like the
I've never
sixth.
really
What do they
looked
mean
into
Dreamcast? 18 Dreamcast?
Just Dreamcast
What does that
2,
mean?
dude.
Dreamcast
Bring the
too.
Most Hope
Bring it-
Revival is the
bring- that's-
Dreamcast.
that's-
Bring the
Sega's
Dreamcast
greatest
back,
IP.
dude.
Well, while you're reviving
Dreamcast
things-
2. Dreamcast 2.
Dreamcast 2 is
Oh,
true.
that's funny.
Holy crap. Apparently Japan, these people want Sakura Wars really bad, and then...
Yeah, that got a lot more votes than anything else.
It did.
It's like almost twice as many votes.
And
as anything
Sakura
else.
Wars, I think there's been one that's come to America.
Apparently.
All of them are just Japan.
That's-
So,
You know. I mean, hey, Persona used to really... They brought them all over. It's not the same thing.
That's right. Sega
Sometimes
owns
it's niche.
Atlas, don't they?
They do.
yeah,
So,
they publish and yeah.
Yeah, so...
Then why is like Atlas so stupid about like
content
online. When Sega is so lax about
They are. They're really lax. That's true.
Sega's like,
They're
please
opposites.
share our stuff.
I get the sense Atlas has like a lot of autonomy because you almost wouldn't know
does.
that Sega owned them if you didn't look into it. It's
Yeah.
not like it comes up when you launch like a game or at least Persona 5.
It's freaking weird.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is pretty weird. But and this may have something as well to do with, since we're talking about Atlas. Gosh, dang it. The alternate history, Rating Historia. The Rating Historia
yes.
kind of update that might fall under this strategy as well.
Yes.
Exactly.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I'm still looking forward to see what they bring back, and I hope it's not the stupid ones that we don't like.
It's really funny because when I made that top 30 video games of all time for this channel like 3 or 4 years ago, I was in the middle of playing that game. I was like, I had started it. I was maybe like 30% of the way through. And I was like, this is a cool game. I wouldn't put it in my top 50 probably, but it's a cool game. And when I finished it, I was like, this is a top 10. So like, I really
list was
like
outdated as soon as it
basically, as soon as it went up, it was outdated. So
Dang. Nobody referenced that.
I'm going to make another one of those soon. Probably I'll make it this week, which who knows when you'll see it.
Oh, crap.
Because I got to make a
You guys have to
backlog.
wait.
I got to make a backlog of videos. That's one thing I want to do. So I have videos ready to go.
Someone out there misheard that as you're making a lot of logging videos. About logging.
Gotta
in
log
your
the backyard, Stack the wood.
Gotta have 10 logging videos on hand at all times.
So, anyways, guys, correct everything we just said.
Yes, please. But 2020, that is the Olympics. So what's going to cap off this 2020 will be Mario and Sonic at the 2020 Olympic Games. And that's what this is all. The road
Tokyo,
to 2020.
right?
In Tokyo, yeah. The road to 2020 is going to... It's going to culminate in that masterpiece. It'll probably be the best Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games ever.
It probably will be.
It'll be the Dark Souls of...
It won't have... It won't have... what sport are they dropping? Are they dropping baseball or something like... Or no, are they adding baseball? Anyways.
Or not skiing.
They were dropping something big, but I can't remember what it was.
Why would the Japanese Olympics drop baseball? It makes no sense.
Well, it was like the IOC. It's like their own decision.
It's not Japan.
Isn't that the year Akira is supposed to happen?
Oh, from Chris Nolan, right? Or
no,
possibly?
like in the story.
Oh, the actual...
It's 2020.
Oh,
I'm pretty
geez.
sure.
Takes
And I also think the Olympics were in Tokyo. Like,
Whoa.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Whoa.
So, you know.
Last time they were in Tokyo was like 64, right? Something like that.
Or the late 70s, something like that. But
So, yeah, correct us on Akira,
anyway.
too. You guys have a lot of correcting to do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Okay, so anyways, apparently there's a Zelda mobile title in development as well.
Oh, yes, yeah.
We're not talking about Sega anymore. It's Nintendo.
Yeah, we're done with Sega.
Anyway, Zelda mobile title in development is going to be coming at some point after the Animal Crossing game.
Which is this year, right?
This year. It's funny, it was supposed to be like the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, we still don't
Fire
have it.
Emblem came out, and yeah, we're still waiting.
So,
so it could be next year.
Nintendo considers, in their reports, they considered Mario Run to kind of have been a failure. But Fire Emblem Heroes has been somewhat of a success in their internal reports. So, I think it's Fire Emblem. I'm not really sure if it's made more money than Super Mario Run at this point, but it's still making money. So.
That's freaking the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
that's totally backwards.
Did not make as much money as the Fire Emblem game.
But it has to do with the strategy, just the format, just the one-time payment or the subscription.
Yeah, or the casino.
Honestly, I'd rather do a one-time payment than to have a,
Yeah, so I
guess
recurring in-app purchases or whatever.
I guess that it just must be like people who play mobile games when they're browsing mobile games. I'm not gonna click something and buy it before I've tried it out.
There's got to be an impulsive...
click something for free.
Yeah.
Right, it has to take advantage of your gambling.
Oh shoot, I'm addicted to this now. I got to get this thing. And
now I'll pay money.
So technically, that was what they were trying to do with Mario Run. You can play the first little bit for free, and they've actually expanded that in the last month. You can play the whole first world for free now.
Oh, cool!
Which is like 5 levels, but
yeah.
I just think that like people are used to what you're talking about, like a free game and then some small in-app purchases, but you can play it forever.
There's something. There's got to be something psychological about. I'm bored and I'm sifting through the games on Google Play or Apple or whatever. And it's like, oh, I'm going to try that one out. But if there's like a purchase barrier there, I could see that as being like, I'm not going to fetch and pay money. I'm just bored right now. But once they're hooked on something,
then they want the gems.
Then they got to get the thing to help them win.
Got to get the gems, dude.
Because they're frustrated, man. So it's like...
It's always the... there's some currency, like a money, like gold currency. And then there's a premium currency of like rainbow-colored stones or gems or whatever. They're all doing it. They're all doing it.
It's got to be psychological. It doesn't make any of the sense. It doesn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah. Well, okay, so in light of that... wild speculation on what this Zelda game could possibly be. I would imagine, I would hope that it's not something along the lines of what Fire Emblem Heroes is. Yeah, but something tells me it's going to be like Link's crossbow training. Not like that game, but like we're getting Zelda, but it's not a Zelda.
It's going to be Hyrule Warriors Tactics.
A tactics game would work.
Hyrule Warriors Tactics.
A tactics game can work on touch.
I'm calling it, but I'm not really calling it.
That would be
because it's not
cool,
but it would that would be slightly intriguing to me.
Yeah,
it would be interesting.
But yeah, it's. I mean, you're probably right. It's probably something more like
something lighter,
like the mini games from Zelda,
like a Tingle. You know, if they actually, I think they've already done this for a little mini game once or twice. But the what was that game with the balloons called, where you're like flying in the air? Balloon flight with Tingle.
Balloon fight.
Fight. Yeah.
Balloon fight. Use Tingle. Put Tingle in Balloon Fight and have that be your Zelda app. And
make it like Flappy Bird, but you're just floating along.
Yeah.
For Crossy Road, but just put Link in it.
Crossy Road with Link.
And Link's trying to Crossy Hyrule.
Trying to Crossy Hyrule. It's hard to say what a
Zelda
Zelda
I don't know. There's so many things they
be.
could do. I mean, if it played like a 2D Zelda, that might not be too bad.
Like
those are tough
a
because
remake of the first one.
Or if it played like freaking the DS one, where you fetching swipe
another Spirit Tracks.
Sword.
Oh, yeah, Spirit Tracks type would work.
I would not like that. No. I would not play that.
Yeah.
See, I look at this and like I'm way more into Zelda than Animal Crossing, but I'm actually looking more forward to an Animal Crossing mobile game because that I can see working.
Because it would work,
to have microtransactions somehow. So what way could to find out what kind of game they're making, you have to first ask how can microtransactions work in a Zelda game? And then you can figure out from there what kind of game it might be.
A Link Between Worlds had that really cool system where you could rent your equipment and do kind of dungeons out of order. Remember Nintendo revealed a couple years ago that like is it that game with that dog? It was like that. There was like a horse racing one where it was microtransaction based, and then there was like a Sluggers baseball.
Oh, their season pass, not season pass, but their
but it was
their
free
game.
I can't.
And you could accumulate money
a couple years
in-game,
ago.
or you can pay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Dark Pixel Podcast, where we don't know anything.
Something training or
I remember being
remember anything.
I remember being surprised because it was like, what is this? This is what everyone's complaining about, and they're like, a feature of this game is
you can spend more money on it. Yeah.
Well, I think they've talked about Fire Emblem Heroes in that same way. Like, this feature is like, you got more stuff to spend money on. Like, it's great. It's so cool.
That's so sad that that's considered a feature now.
If it's like, if it's too much like the Fire Emblem Heroes game,
then
I wouldn't be very happy because
it probably won't be. It'll probably be something pretty different.
I can see it.
Puzzle based.
That's basically a remake of the first one.
That's true. That's actually an angle that could work pretty well if it was just like a Zelda dungeon puzzle solving game. Like you just go into a room and like figure out how to move the things and get to the next room. That could, and then fight a boss, at the end of it or something. Yeah. Like that could totally work.
Some people were joking that it would be like Korok Go. So you just go
Korok Go. You got to go find Korok.
Yeah, and they just like pop out.
Maybe. Or no, like what if it was structured like that? It was like an augmented reality game, but like you came across enemies and stuff, and you had to like fight them.
Pretty cool.
Well, I was wondering like who would be making this Zelda app? Would it be
I think it's DNA,
or would it be?
I think it's
another company, because DNA's been making a lot of the other ones, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Good question.
I don't know. I think it would be cool if they just had like a Sheikah Slate something or other that just for kicks and giggles, like if it like interfaced with the Switch game in some way. There's not a reason for it. Like no one would buy that. I don't think it would make money. But this is a Sheikah Slate.
Where are the microtransactions, dude?
Fetch. That's true.
My real Sheikah Slate.
If they could make an app where you could literally magnetize stuff,
that
would sell pretty well.
I'd buy that. $10.
Yeah, $10. Get a Sheikah Slate for your Sheikah Slate. Yeah, it works.
There's a lot of possibilities, I guess. Things that could work. That sounds like the coolest idea to me, actually. If they turned your phone into a Sheikah Slate and it was about solving puzzles and stuff.
Yeah.
That could be pretty cool.
And there's a
that's
ball
probably
that's rolling
the best
and
one, like a puzzle.
Yeah.
They will have one of those, and it would be not fun.
Oh man,
I did not know this. Somebody. Oh, actually, maybe I shouldn't say this. Dang it. Sorry. Somebody got mad when I mentioned how many shrines there were in Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
that guy,
yeah.
So, I mean...
Well, he unsubscribed, so...
Oh, good.
I don't know. I don't know if he did, but I'm pretty sure he did. And if he didn't, then he's kind of a butthole anyway. So
he was pretty enraged.
Jeez, yeah. There's spoilers, and then there's that. But anyways, I probably shouldn't. I was going to say something about one of the puzzles in Breath of the Wild that, spoiler alert, is gyro controlled. Okay.
I haven't done any of those in handheld mode yet, but I can imagine those getting kind of difficult.
Yeah, because
you'd have to like reset.
Okay, so the only one
weird.
that I did is it a required one? Is there one that's a required one in the opening section?
I can't remember.
Anyways, so
There's
it's the one
one
that drops the ball in.
Yes.
And it's a maze, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what I did. I literally turned my chair like 180 degrees, and then I dropped it into the part where I just flip it and up like that. I just turned my chair, and it just dropped it in the right spot, and I was like, what to?
Apparently, you can flip your controller upside down.
Oh, and then it's
flat.
just
it's flat, and you
That's
roll
smart
it
too.
in.
That's smart too.
What is madness? Anyway,
Actually, on that note,
but you can't see if you're playing off screen.
If you're handheld, you're like
you
go like that. So there are so many shrines where like I'll solve it one way, and then like I'll watch my wife come along and play the same shrine, and she does something totally different.
Dude, spoilers, man. Watch the spoilers. Be careful. We don't know what's a spoiler anymore. We really don't.
I don't care if someone thinks that's a spoiler. I really don't care. At that point, it's just you shouldn't watch videos.
Yeah, stay off the internet. Play the game.
Oh my gosh. Anyways.
So, a phone puzzle app. That would be pretty cool.
Be
and they probably will use gyro stuff, because that's what they do.
Yeah. Well, cool. That's it for the news. We got some good questions from you guys. Tayson's gaming spot. So my question is, how do each of you shape? So I think Tayson's the one who is in graduate school right now, I think, and very busy with other aspects of their life. And so they only find just little bits of time here and there to play games, but being that they're on this channel, they're obviously into long story-based like RPGs, and that can be difficult when those stretch over months, and you can't sometimes really remember who somebody was who you saw earlier in the game that came back. So my question is, how do each of you shape your gaming lifestyle / time commitments, playing such games around other aspects of your adult life?
Well, here's one thing that's helped. I started a gaming channel.
Yeah, start a YouTube channel. Make it your job, and then gaming becomes easier. Back when I was in college, I didn't play games as often. Or when I did, it was like Call of Duty. It wasn't a big, long, story game. It was short sessions that I could cram in to, anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of the reason why I've been able to keep up to any degree is just, I'm a pretty private person anyway, so I don't really go socialize a lot, and that's fine with me. I'm okay with that. So that opens up a little more time, I think, than the average person has to play games. But on top of that, we have this gaming channel, so I have some like extra incentive to spend time doing it. But like if I had like a normal full-time job. Well,
if you work a 9 to 5. Well, he's in graduate school, so
in graduate school, and maybe he's got other stuff. I mean,
another job on the side.
It just depends on who you are, because some people are real busy, like they're working a job and they're going to school, or they're working 2 jobs or something like that. For those kinds of people, it's gonna be real hard, especially if you like work weekends, or if you have a ton of homework you got to do over the weekend. It can be very, very hard for other people who might just have one job or just going to school or, don't have quite as much on the schedule, generally you're got 8 hours of your day tied up. So you got a lot of time there that you could fit something in, or if you'd rather socialize, do that.
But sometimes what seems to happen is what gets sacrificed is sleep.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it's like, I want to play this game, and then you can't cut into your work hours, so
but
sometimes you can cut into your sleep.
Cut into sleep a little, yeah.
That's usually, most people that I know do that. Like Matt does that with StarCraft and Civilization.
Yeah. That's right.
But, still gets up for work the next day or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. It is tough, though. It really is tough. I always find myself wishing I had a little more time. And it's tougher because of the fact that all the games that I want to play are like 50-plus hour games. It's not like, hey, this new game came out, and it's like 15 hours to beat, and then you can play another one, and another one, and another one. It's like, here's a 60-hour game, here's a 100-hour game, here's a 50-hour game, here's a 20-hour one, sweet. One of the short ones.
Yeah, right, I know, 20.
That ends up being game of the year.
if you're playing a 50-hour game and you can play an hour a day, you're looking at a month and a half.
Yeah.
Which is like, you can read books quicker than that, even if they're long books.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
It's definitely a unique medium that way.
Yeah.
It's tough, for sure. But, yeah, I guess my answer to that was I made a gaming channel.
Do it. Start a channel.
I have a reason to play them more.
This week's been kind of a busier week, I think, or at least the past few
for sure.
days for sure, I think for all of us. And so
I haven't touched anything in
it's a pretty example. Sometimes you just
me
can't
neither.
work it in.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not going to happen. And so, like, I'm the type of person, like, the first 2 times I dropped Final Fantasy IX. First time, geez, I'm trying to. What always happens for me is if I've gone more than like 2 weeks, and I pick it back up, I'm like, what the heck was going on? And I have to run around, talk to some NPCs. If there's a quest log, I'll look at that and try and like reorient myself. Yeah. But sometimes I'll just be like, I can't figure this out. I'm gonna play something else, and then that's like real quickly leads to me just dropping it because
the game.
I'll inevitably get to the point where like I'm not appreciating what's happening right now because I don't even remember who that guy is, but the characters are like, oh no, you're back, or this thing was important. Remember we were trying to go after it, and so that's what happens to me. If I let something go about 2 weeks, I have a real hard time getting back into it.
Yeah. For me, I'm trying to think of the last game that I dropped for a long time and came back to it. I think it was probably most recently Dark Souls, but that you don't need to know the story to really play that. Pick it up and play it again.
Although sometimes you can lose your edge with like the system and like what you were trying to do with your equipment,
or
what was
not remember where you were,
or
like which direction you should go next or something. But in terms of like story games, Final Fantasy XII was one that I picked up and put down a number of times, but I never got that far. Yeah. I only really played the intro. I guess I don't do that very often. It's like once I get hooked into something, I generally play it every day until I finish it.
See it all the way through.
I guess with Horizon, I dropped it for like maybe like close to a week, but that's not long enough to forget. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I like handheld or gaming or like Switch, because there's more potential kind of areas where theoretically you could play. Even if you like still don't, it's still like I'm going to this place, so I can take this with me and not have to set up a TV or something. You're waiting in line for a movie, you can play some Breath of the Wild, where you guys remember waiting in line for Two Towers, probably.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That was an all-day thing.
Josh Ferguson was like the first guy in line, and he was playing Metal Gear Solid.
TV with Metal Gear Solid, dude.
That's right.
Yeah, a big old CRT. He had quite
Metal Gear Solid. That was freaking sick.
Yeah, that was fun.
And if these days, not like it's.
I think he also had the Lord of the Rings game for like the PlayStation 2 or something. He was playing that a little bit.
Yeah. That was nowadays. There's a lot more options than that. Josh Ferguson probably
doesn't drag his CRTV to the Harkins anymore.
That's commitment, though. If you're doing that, you really want to play that game, or you're going to be there all day and like he was.
We didn't go to Harkins for Return of the King. We went to an AMC.
No,
further out.
Got different tickets, and I think we saw Return of the King in Denver.
Yeah.
I was kind of I don't know why they decided to switch. I think that maybe the theater was a little bigger. They were just like, we're watching the finale of this in the biggest movie theater.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, crazy.
So it was so fetching long.
It was very long.
Even me, I was just like, wow, this is a long movie.
Some movies need like a bathroom warning on them. You know, be like
leave now.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
Like,
movies used to have intermission.
There's an app for that. Like during the movie, it'll like tell you when like it's a good lull in the action.
Yeah,
go.
That's hilarious if you're using your phone during the film.
That's Alfred Hitchcock's thing, though. He's like, the length of a film should be dictated by the capacity of the human bladder.
Yeah,
because it doesn't make people are gonna have to step away. They're gonna have to. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Depending on who you are. So, anyway, Tayson, I hope that's sufficient for you. None of us, I don't think, necessarily, besides for like streams and things, schedule like a specific block of time
for gaming.
No, per se.
Not really.
Usually ends up being
kind of just before bed.
Sundays or
try it out
before bed.
Mm-hmm. Try it out, see what you can do.
I am so bad at like not wanting to start something if I only have maybe like 15 minutes or so.
I can't do that either.
Me too.
Yeah, so for a while, that's all I was getting in Breath of the Wild, was just 15 minutes
15
here and there. I didn't want to go do any divine.
Sometimes it's just hard to start at all because it's like, I know this is going to take a long time to beat this game.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to fetch and watch YouTube videos.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'd rather look up videos about the game than play the game.
Right.
It's just going to take
that time adds up, you know, like if you could utilize it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It's like probably hours
because you end up watching YouTube videos for 3 hours and losing sleep anyways when you could have just played the game. But like it starts to feel almost like work, not while you're doing it, but like before you do it. It's like
it's like I'm
gonna have to learn how to play this game.
Yeah.
I feel that with new games, especially RPGs. It's like they're teaching you the mechanics, and the guy comes out and is like, now you can counter this way, and I'm just like, I'm gonna go play. That's why I played so much of Skyrim back in the day.
Yeah,
I'd start a new game and be like, I'm just playing Skyrim. Go right back to it over and over. Even though I'm like, I'm not getting much out of this, but I just don't want to learn like a new system right now.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, people who diss on people who play a lot of games for like it being a waste of time or whatever, I actually think it really exercises, depending on the game.
Depends on the game, but a lot of games really are very engaging in that way.
Keeping up, like, you're kind of learning new things constantly.
Multitasking.
It can be easy for people in like day-to-day life to not have to learn anything new.
Well, it's like you learn a complex system every like month or so that you play a new game. Like, think about if you were doing that at work somewhere, you know, like you're learning a new piece of software. New job.
And
you're learning like a new...
You're not just like you're learning how to optimize it. Like you're figuring out like this is the maximum effect from this system is to use this thing at this time.
It's not mindless in any way. At least certain genres aren't.
Right. So that's...
I won't say that about Candy Crush, I guess puzzles, but... maybe if you got Flappy Bird. That's
just all about hand-eye reflex and
it's not the same thing.
It's not the same. So Tayson, thank you. Tayson's Gaming Spot. Thank you. That was a good one. We got this one from the Colonel. Are you the Colonel?
Are you the Colonel?
My question is, do you guys think video game types are cyclical in nature? Do you think audiences will grow tired of these open world games?
They will.
They already are.
Open world will never leave as a genre, but it will certainly become less popular.
It's like treating it like a fad versus it being just like a subgenre or something. You know, it's like every game is open world because that's what's cool right now, not because that was the right choice for the game you're making. And so I think people get fatigued by repetitive functions, things they've already seen in other games. Like Assassin's Creed did a lot to like popularize open worlds and had certain mechanics and functions within open worlds that have been copied by most others.
Mm-hmm.
And what
Games
they
like Oblivion
the things
too,
they
and-
seem to copy are like the most repetitive, boring stuff. Like the a lot of the criticism, even back to the very first Assassin's Creed, was like, this game is super repetitive. You just go do the same things. You go unlock a new map with the tower, and then you go do the same like 4 tasks
Just in
within
a
that region, and then you do it again and again.
And
Every single open world
Everyone
has
does it now.
taken the same exact idea, the part that people didn't like, and copied that.
So Assassin's Creed's weird because they don't try to hide their systems. They make their systems highly visible because it fits with the story.
It
It's
actually
like,
works with
it's
that.
like you're in this thing and here are the rules and I hate it when video games don't. You don't have to hide that you're a video game, but I do appreciate when they try and put some more creativity into like integrating the stuff in a way that feels more natural instead of just having to have a pop up or somebody saying press Z to talk to me, talk to me. There's some things you just can't get around, but some stuff like it worked for Assassin's Creed really well
because
in
you
some
were
ways.
in the Animus, and
It's like, oh no, you're losing
Right.
synchronization, and it was like
It's the excuse.
but you can't go that way, man. No, we got this thing to do. Like
your memories, your ancestors never went there, so
they don't. Yeah,
you don't know what we can't pull that info from your DNA.
It's like super meta that way.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I
Whereas
like-
in Breath of the Wild, you're on a freaking square continent that's surrounded conveniently by 3 massive canyons and an ocean, and it's like
Also, like, I'm trying to think of like the ancients from that game and what the purpose was of putting maps inside of giant towers that go up. Like, why didn't they just put those things on the ground level?
was that?
Dude?
Exactly.
Why did they like? What? There's
Was
nothing
it
in it. It's not like a
scanning?
building
Was
with
it like
rooms
a
in it.
radio
It's just a
tower?
fetching room that they shoot way up in the sky. And you got to go up there if you want to know about this region. Like, makes no sense at all. It has nothing to do with the world building at all.
My guess is that like it's obviously it doesn't have to do with world building. It has to do with like you can see that tower and they don't have
right,
True.
and now
UI
you can.
and-
But they also have that ping thing on the map that shoots up the light.
when you're
where
looking
you
through the
can-
Sheikah slate, and you
Yeah.
can see the
And-
column of light. Yeah.
So, like, they could shoot, like, Luxor lights up in the sky, instead of, like, being tall.
Yeah, that's true.
But, even games like Shadows of Mordor did the same thing, too. Like, they had to have towers.
That was at least well, not that it's that different, but I love that like the towers were like parts of it is like you had to climb it as like a wraith. Like,
Yeah, it was like
the tower's only
broken.
here.
It was broken,
Yeah.
and then like the ancient portion
was like
was,
in
like,
the wraith world.
in the wraith world, and you could.
What did
climb
that
the
look
top of
like
the
to
Wraith
That's
the
pretty
orcs? Like,
cool.
watch us fetching dude.
It's just like climbing
glitching
the
out.
air. Well, he actually switches to his wraith self.
He
so-
does,
so
but
he's
like
invisible.
It would be
Is
like
he
he
invisible?
would be like he turned invisible when he got
Okay.
up, and then just
it's so
so
seamless, like in the game. It's like
Yeah.
because that back and forth works really.
I guess it's not really his wraith self. It's
the
Celebrimbor or whatever. But anyways, it's like what was another one I played recently? It's Horizon Zero Dawn 2.
Yeah.
They had like the tall neck dinosaur ones with
Get on top.
with like the
Oh yeah.
what do you call it?
Disc
flat
or whatever.
plate heads, disc heads. They're the same exact function. It's just like,
Yeah.
why is this so? Like, why does everyone think that this is something people want to do? is
Well,
climb
and
things?
it's not like
Yeah.
I suppose
Get
you
the
could
map.
make an argument that maybe that's the simplest physical representation for a point that would, be able to map out an area. But it's not like it. No one was complaining about, oh, you can jump in Mario Brothers. Oh, now everyone's jumping in their games. Like that's very
Yeah.
understood. Like the utility is very obvious there.
Yeah.
Right. Get to the high ground.
This is kind of like this. Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be some more creativity.
There's got to be
Yeah.
another way
And
of me
in-
unlocking map. I just buy the
in,
map from the fetching, like,
the
the map maker.
the map maker
Tingle,
guy.
dude. Tingle's all
Give
about
me a
those
map.
maps.
Sweet, I got a map. Now I look at the map, and then I memorize where to go, and then I put the map away, and I walk there. I don't have, like, a fetching light that,
That's
like,
true.
tells me where to go.
People in these
should
worlds
have maps.
should have maps.
That was
And
actually
you should be capable of asking.
my favorite thing about Final Fantasy 15 was not the world map, because they did waypoints. Not that there's
like-
anything necessarily wrong with waypoints, because in most games now they allow you to turn it off if you want to. But in the dungeons, you had to freaking like learn it. You had to map, like discover it and the map would kind of become discovered on the mini-map, and you had to like just recognize things and put it together and use your brain to navigate these dungeons.
That was really cool
thing.
Build it out
as
you go.
I loved that, and I wish more games would do that, not just in a dungeon but on the whole overworld. It's like buy a map from a guy or whatever, and then you look at that map and say, I'm going to walk about this far, and then there's going to be a fork, and I'm going to take the fork to the right. Okay, put it away and go do that thing.
That kind of makes me think of how like treasure maps are implemented sometimes in some of these games, where it's like really rough and you've got to figure out the landmarks and stuff.
Yeah, like Red Dead Redemption did that. Freaking Final Fantasy IX did that with the chocographs. Now those can be really obscure sometimes. It's kind of realistic though, because somebody would have just drawn, this is what the landmark kind of looks like or whatever. Look for something like this, but that can be kind of a pain sometimes to try and locate if they make it too obscure. But I like that better still than, oh man, I picked up a paper and the paper described where this treasure was hidden, and then boop, you just follow the yellow brick road and like go.
Sometimes I think like in Breath of the Wild, for example, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but if you're that sensitive, don't listen to this. But you discover a region, and the shape of that region is a little bit of a clue as to what kind of, especially if there's a divine beast in that area. You kind of know, like, I'm not really gonna have to leave this region to take care of this. Yeah, and so it helps. Like, that's true. Restrict narrow. Doesn't mean it has to be a tower, but the discovering part kind of helps you realize, like, there's a specific one that I'm thinking of that makes it very obvious where you need to go. So anyways, I think that could be a good tool maybe to like keep people from getting overwhelmed too quickly, or getting lost or what have you.
In any case, I got way off topic here.
But yeah, so one thought that I had about this was that like we're seeing a lot of open world games right now, but in the past I feel like a lot of what we would see was like thematic stuff that people like steampunk's real big, or and so people are making a bunch of games that follow this kind of
brown,
genre,
black, and white shooters.
Exactly, the color palette being
shooters
shared,
being very, very popular in the early 2000s.
And then other games would imitate those aspects of each other. I think a little more. And this is mechanic.
I think
than an aesthetic.
Honestly, I think that this is true of more than just video games. I think it's true of like almost everything in pop culture. Like you see fashion kind of does the same thing a lot of times. Like throwbacks become cool to an earlier time. Logos for professional sports teams in the United States have done this in a big way, where in the 90s everything went to this really whack cartoony kind of design. Weird. They would change team colors completely. Like the Detroit Pistons were red, blue, white, I think. Basically for most of their time since they came in the NBA. And then in the 90s they went to this like strange like blue, green, tealish kind of color with like orange and black and like
the Spurs
bunch of
had
weird
the turquoise
colors.
and pink. Do you remember the Spurs?
Yeah, their court.
Yeah.
Anyways,
what
they
the
like and like what was originally just like a really sort of a neat, just the word Pistons as the logo. They came into this like horse thing with like freaking like
the steam coming out of the back.
Steam coming out of the back, like exhaust pipes and stuff.
That.
Like just this real like just like nutso crazy flowing design. The Houston Rockets had really cool uniforms in the 90s, in the early 90s, I should say, but very clean, just like a red and yellow trim. The word Houston or Rockets, depending on if it was road or home. Just simple numbers, but an interesting and unique font that might be italicized or something. And then their logo was a basketball, just like a yellow basketball with the word Rockets written across it. The Phoenix Suns had a similar kind of thing, like it was like a ball that was kind of on fire, just purple and orange. And then they just went crazy. Like the Houston Rockets became these pinstriped blue things with
that
like
red rocket,
a cartoon red rocket like flying up across, like just whack.
The Toronto Raptors got the freaking like dinosaur looking thing dribbling a basketball. That was so funny.
So everyone shifted to this kind of look, And now what we're seeing is they're all going back, like they're modern. They're not totally going back to the exact same look as before, but they're adopting their original colors.
Yeah, the
it's
jazz,
just a font
yeah.
with the team's logo on it. They're much more simple. Like they're going back to that simpler design from earlier, but with like a modern kind of twist on it.
Well, particularly the NBA was pretty bad with that. I feel like the NFL had some bad ones, not as many. And baseball, for the most part, kind of
baseball has not changed their logos for a long time.
The teams that were new in the late '90s, like the Jaguars and
the Diamondbacks.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were a little bit newer. I think they were in the 80s that they started, but they got like a really crazy overhaul redo of their uniforms. They've kind of kept with theirs, but anyways, it was just a cool, like the Seattle Supersonics kind of did it too.
Oh yeah,
everybody did this.
Right.
They all did it,
yeah.
except for very few teams. The Chicago Bulls didn't do it. The Los Angeles Lakers didn't really do it. All the teams who had like prestige had like one thing.
Yeah, the Knicks still looking pretty
similar. They
similar.
stayed with their old stuff, but like all these other teams were like, we gotta switch it up. Jazz went crazy, had like mountains on theirs. It's just like weird stuff, and like the Jazz totally went back to their old logo. They've had the note again for the J and
It's just so interesting when these new like fads come out and everyone wants to do it and they don't care. They don't know how to do it right yet.
Good.
They don't know, but they're exploring the genre, and through all these companies doing it, eventually certain methods come about that are, this worked better than that, and here you go. You refine it, and then you've got something. But all the games that came before it are like hard to go back and play once you've got the formula right.
Yeah.
And then around that time is when I don't know, people kind of stopped doing it.
Well, we still have that garbage new Pepsi logo, and like Coca-Cola is essentially
with that weird
logo that
smile.
Yeah, that they mostly are. Sometimes like when you're talking brand recognition and stuff, it's like
it's just a strange.
It's really tough. But I mean, how are you gonna get people to buy new basketball jerseys, man? You got to redesign that logo. No, you got the old one. You look weird. Same here, like at BYU, the old 80s, 70s, 60s looking stuff is all that throwback stuff is what everyone's wearing now.
That's all, the
old logo with the the paw going down, and the old the hat tipped on the side of the
that really
that's
old
like
one.
that really
the sailor looking Cooper.
Yeah, this is just kind of common throughout most of pop culture, I think, and a lot of movies are kind of going back to being more lighthearted now, like action movies where they got real serious for a while. Everything was like super like dark, and now they're trying to be funnier again. And I think the same thing it does happen with video games. Like, I think that a lot of I think RPGs are kind of at a peak moment to sort of resurge a bit.
To come back.
Because,
well, as people get sick of
they get so tired of the same thing over and over again. They're looking for something new.
Totally.
And without having to actually come up with something new, you can sort of
just
revive something that was popular.
Reach 20 years in the
20
past.
years ago for all the new kids.
I kind of feel like with RPGs that it doesn't stand out as a genre the same way it used to. It used to be that RPG elements were mostly only in RPGs.
Yeah.
And now so many games are really, truthfully, a hybridized, somewhat RPG approach because it works with psychology, like we were talking about with the Fire Emblem, the gacha games and stuff.
System,
and so that's, I would love to see a resurgence in RPGs, but I feel like right now they don't stand out as much other than like the story elements.
Yeah,
it used to be like that. If that was what you wanted, if you wanted some character progression and work on unlocking skills and that kind of stuff, that's in.
Well, I just feel like
it
could work so much better than most other kinds of games can on like mobile. So like
because it's menu based, right? It's text based typically.
So I feel like if companies, well, I don't know. It is tough to hook somebody for as long as RPGs tend to be.
Yeah.
But
especially for a phone game.
In any case, it is true that games tend to go through these cycles of something being popular for a long time. Now, I don't know why platformers sort of fell in popularity. I mean, they haven't necessarily fallen off the planet, but They're just not
Yeah.
the top dog like they used to be, but nobody
They
was
were the
tired
biggest
of them.
ones.
I don't remember people being like, "Oh gosh,
They
another
disappeared
platformer."
at the same point in time that the video game mascots disappeared.
No,
Like,
yeah.
They were like at one point they were one and the same thing. And when it was like we need to shed this and have more of an adult image, that's the
Because it was
thing to
like,
go.
I feel like Halo really popularized shooters, and then like shooters were humongous
Basically.
for 10 years straight. It was just like they dominated. And then it's like everyone's tired of that now, sort of. Like no one, like you mostly see people complaining about Halo and Call of Duty now. You don't see a lot of people
It's true.
like that are as like gung ho.
At the same time, Call of Duty still kills it.
It does.
Sales wise, it's
I think
the recent one though is quite a bit down from
from
years
where
previous,
it used to
right?
be.
Yeah.
But MOBAs are really big. Competitive games like that,
Esports and stuff.
esports kinds of games are really surging right now.
There was a conversation I had on Discord with a few people, and there's some stats I found from a report from like 2014, I think it was, and they were comparing basically the percentage of the total industry sales that different subgenres represented, going from roughly 2000 up to 2013, 2014, and shooters come from basically out of nowhere and explode.
Really?
Wow.
And then taper off, but it was like a non-existent genre, and it became the most dominant genre.
Yeah.
And their interpretation was that this was at the expense of some other genres. Now, it's not a zero-sum game. People can buy more than one game.
Totally.
So that's not necessarily eating into other genres, but when you look at it, it does appear that it's kind of and so you have some genres like the whole Guitar Hero
That
rock band thing
dude.
came and went fast. It's gone.
That is
Freaking
gone.
Yeah,
gone.
that
it
didn't last long.
It might be close
Yeah.
to coming back again. I don't know, but it's gone. It's freaking gone.
Oh, dude.
That was
So,
in rhythm games too, like
Yeah, just in general.
Just Dance.
Revolution.
DDR
Just
was so
Dance.
big.
not Just Dance still is Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah.
DDR, dude, yeah.
DDR is huge.
That
Some
was
of that
That's at the
huge.
nickel arcades now.
Like Taiko-kun and stuff like that. Like there's still like I think Japan still has a soft spot for that, maybe more than the U.S. right now. But yeah, actually, speaking of Japan, when I lived there, I had people tell me all the time that Japan was ahead of the U.S. when it came to design and fashion trends, and that whatever you saw right now was going to be in the U.S. like a decade later, basically. But I have yet to freaking see people wearing the crap that I saw people wearing when I lived there. Oh,
That's
fetch! Well, camera's dying.
Battery's dead.
Battery's
darn.
So that question, that last one, that was from the Colonel.
The
So I know we're
Colonel.
talking. This also goes in the argument of linear versus open world and all that sort of thing. I think that there is room for both. I don't think like this will go away and this will take over. I think hopefully moving forward we see more of a balance between those. That's what I would like because I love just the variety. You know, I really like playing a game that doesn't necessarily have a story, but that is fun and engaging, maybe open world or less of a story like Breath of the Wild. But I also really love getting a story. Sometimes you just get in, that's like all you want. I just want a story, man. Just like wow me. And
Yeah, I mean, I saying all that we've said about everything, I actually really enjoy open world games. Most of the time, those are some of my favorites. And I know a lot of people on this channel, they don't like them so much. They prefer the more linear, sort of like extremely story-driven stuff. And I like that too, but I mean, I really enjoy open worlds even though I have some gripes about climbing towers. But for the most part, I still just really enjoy them. Getting done with Horizon a couple weeks ago, I just loved it. I loved Zelda when I played that before that. So obviously, it's still very popular, and companies are still going to make open world games for a while to come.
I think they're still being refined, and there's still surprising new things being put into these open world games that are unexpected and that are, make them better. I don't think we've quite hit the point where it's like,
It's
hey,
like people are totally
it's
sick of
finally
this
been done and no one's doing it better anymore.
yeah,
And let's move on to something else.
Yeah.
It's still getting like Breath of the Wild. I haven't seen, an open world game like that ever. It's totally different.
it's I would hope that we don't see this genre go the way of some other subgenres we've seen. But I don't see any indication why. I think some companies they kind of gambled and lost the bet on putting too much into the open world concept, like Ubisoft. They had that earnings call a couple years ago, and they're like, all our games will now be open world sandbox experiences. And I was like, why?
Didn't Aonuma just say all Zeldas are going to be like this from now on,
He
too?
said this is what Zelda will be for the foreseeable future.
They get so excited about the one real big success that they just you don't do it, man. Don't get complacent, man.
So like you know,
it'll hurt you a lot.
Somebody like I don't know, somebody who eats too many apples in a week is gonna be like fetch apples, dude.
Screw that. I shouldn't have eaten.
You just got shoved apples in your face. Yeah. They're still good. Just don't eat as many, man.
Don't do that.
Don't make as many. Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft. We'll see what Assassin's Creed turns into, because that's their big thing. They're retooling.
Well, a company as large as Ubisoft, I think, should be developing as much as possible a diversity of game types.
Well, it's like, why are these different games?
Assassin's Creed should be their big open world game, and they should also have a more linear puzzle-solving Prince of Persia. They shouldn't make Prince of Persia open world. And then they should also have a strictly stealth action Splinter Cell. And then they should also have platforming Rayman Legends, and they should also have an RPG franchise. You don't make every single thing you have the same game. That's crazy.
That's a terrible idea. That's what I thought when I saw Watch Dogs for the first time. I was like,
I was like, are you guys just doing this now?
Wait. And then as you watch what they're doing, it's like, not that is not cool. The idea of Watch Dogs is really cool.
It's very cool.
But you watch it and you're like, so this is Assassin's Creed.
It's Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Even the movements and everything he's doing. This is the same game.
Well, because I think the focus became like just get these games out so quick on
they can share
yearly franchises like Call of Duty.
That's right, only one engine.
And so it's like you're using the same engine for everything. Yeah. You can reuse animations and a lot of assets, and it minimizes how much work you have to put into getting something out. But people will see that. People will see when you're taking shortcuts and when you're just copying things from your other game. Yeah. So just don't do that. Take a little extra time. You might not make as much money in the short term, but in the long term, you'll keep fans happier. They'll be more loyal. Yeah. And it'll be more sustainable. You won't have to do what you ended up doing with Assassin's Creed last year, which is like, okay, guys, we're backing off now. We gave you too much. You don't want it anymore.
We're not going to make
like you ruin it. You can't do that. I think that is not worth the short term mega sales while the fad lasts.
It feels less like a special thing and more like a given that this will be around. There will be another Fast and Furious movie, right? Like
there will.
You're not going to be like, I hope they make this, and then you're like really getting behind the creators. That not that you want to undersupply, but there's something to be said for like not making it seem like your thing is just commoditized and it's just like this is everywhere, you can get it anywhere. Well, it's like artist prints that are 1 out of 200 or something. Yeah. If you saw all 200 at once, you'd be like, fetch this. Whatever. But when you see one in a store, this is 1 out of 200. Sick. It's limited. It's limited.
Well, what's funny about it is like, despite the fact that I'm a big fan of open world adventure style games, that's probably my favorite video game genre, I would say. I played Black Flag, and that was the last Assassin's Creed game I played. And I liked it, too. It was actually my favorite one. I had a blast with it. And I still had no interest in Unity or Syndicate. How did that happen? That's crazy. I liked it the whole time. I played them all.
Okay.
And then I did not want to buy those.
I don't know exactly what happened.
How does that happen?
Story, but they broke away from the Desmond stuff.
Yeah, that ended with 3. And that Black Flag was the first one where they weren't doing that anymore.
No,
and I still liked that way better than the third one.
But I just wonder if that hurt them in any way. I'm sure people are like, what happens next?
I'm sure they did. Yeah. Because it was kind of a disappointing ending. I think most people would say to the... A lot of people didn't even play it for the modern storyline. No. Really silly. But a lot of people who were following it for that felt a bit disappointed or let down by the way it ended.
Or hitting on like Ezio. Like people freaking loved Ezio, right? And it's like, here's Ezio again. And I'm not advocating sequels, but I am saying that like it cloning. Like it's just reskinning the same thing becomes more obvious, and I feel like more egregious. If you're going to do sequels, pick a dude and like let's see what happens to him.
Story. Yeah,
kind of. I guess a little like Splinter Cell, although Splinter Cell doesn't really stick to their lore terribly. What I think with the reboot, anyways.
I was actually enjoying that. I don't know why I stopped. I think I lost it on my hard drive crash. I was actually kind of enjoying that game. It was pretty fun, despite the fact that the voice was different and everyone hated it.
That's like the weirdest thing to get hung up on. I think, anyways. But I'm not a
I mean, I don't think he
huge
was a
Square
great
so.
actor to choose because he was just so young. Like he just
But I
didn't
get
feel
why
like
they
Sam.
want the voice to come from the guy who's doing the motion capture.
Yes, that makes sense.
That's
Yeah,
like
that
makes sense.
sure. And if Michael Ironsides isn't going to
Michael Ironside's
some
not
sick,
getting
like,
in there.
chokeholds and
Fighting
flipping people.
Yeah.
But it's like maybe you should find
Maybe somebody else.
In any case, it's just more diversity. The more you want to have, I think, if you become a mega huge corporation like that, unless you're going to be, well, even Square Enix is diversifying a lot by acquiring.
Well, and they make mobile games.
Tomb Raider.
Oh, Crystal
and,
Dynamics and
so they've done that a little bit, but even their
those
their
guys.
Japanese side, their
Eidos.
niche is a certain kind of RPG, right?
Yeah.
If you're not going to be that, and you're going to make a wealth of different kinds of games, like don't make them all the same kind of open world game. Keep them, have a wealth of different kinds of genres that you make. And
It's it's funny bringing up Square Enix because this is one piece of news we didn't talk about, but in this last week they talked about selling off. Was it IO Interactive, like the company that makes Hitman?
oh yeah, they saw.
Oh yeah.
They're basically
or
done
it's up
with
for
it.
sale.
That's
They're
right.
trying to find a buyer,
Which means they're
but
not
it
making a
appears
Hitman
at least
right now.
currently as if there will not be that we know right now. There's not like another Deus Ex planned. There's not another. There's no way they'll end Tomb Raider, but who knows what's happening right now with Tomb Raider because
Which is funny
The
because
Avengers.
that Hitman thing was
That's
the,
right, they're
the
making Marvel
episodic
stuff now.
thing, right?
Yeah.
The whole idea was that it was
Yeah.
going to be like not seasons but episodes that came out, and that was like the way they were doing
And
things.
I
And
saw
then
a lot
the
of
Final
people
Fantasy
praise
VII
it.
remake was going to be structured the
Gonna
same
be an
way,
episodic
but now that obviously didn't work out the way they had hoped,
You
and they're
know-
looking to sell it.
I just sometimes I think Square Enix, Nintendo just does like dumb crap a lot of times. It's like, what are you thinking? I think Square Enix has weird expectations sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hear about internal expectations they have, and not some. There's a difference between projections and like goals, right?
Yeah.
Like what you think you'll sell versus like what you would want to push your people to achieve.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes I feel like their sights are set way too high with some of their franchises.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't think Tomb Raider's going anywhere. But they actually might be, besides the Avengers stuff, be condensing down to.
And that's what I had
Some
heard. A lot of
core
people were
IP.
upset when they bought Eidos because it was just like they bought them just to kind of own their stuff and just to kind of say like, hey, we have this company in North America now, and and not really planning on using them or anything like that. And it is kind of showing that. I mean, that seems to be kind of correct in a lot of ways, that Square Enix isn't really using Eidos the way that maybe Eidos thought.
Yeah.
Especially knowing how the one of the old founders of Eidos left the company because he just did not like Square Enix at all. And that was around the time, during 2012, I guess.
Yeah.
And
When they were
yeah.
in the midst of the whole Final Fantasy 13
Yeah, 13 verses, and then figuring out the future of that.
how that should be made.
And figuring that he left the company because he's like, Square Enix is like not letting us do what we want. And there you go. That's what's happening. They're making Disney movies now. It's pretty cool. Or
Well,
Disney games.
They weren't making open world games, man. Maybe that's the
No,
problem.
they weren't. That's it. Square Enix is like, you're not making open world. Screw
I
you.
can do. We will.
You're all fired.
Yeah.
Well, I can't
Well-
wait to see how many Sega heads hate on us in this episode.
Sorry, I mean, I just don't play those games very often.
I didn't have a
don't know
Sega
what to tell you.
Genesis.
I've never owned a Sega console.
I owned the $50 Sega, 50 games in one console. That's all I got. I've only played a few levels of the Sega games on that.
It was not
Probably
a
about
Sega
as much as
head.
I played when I was a kid. But I have played Sonic Adventures 2, I believe is what it's called, for the GameCube,
Oh.
with the Chows.
Oh
and
yeah.
with the-
Oh yeah. Because
Sonic Adventure
2 likes
2.
that a lot.
And that game's pretty fun.
Sonic.
Bring back some Streets of Rage, man. Bring back some Streets of
Yeah.
Rage. That's just. I love that. That's a
Streets of
genre
Rage.
that's like basically gone too. Just that beat 'em up.
Yeah,
like,
the beat
run
'em
down
up
the street,
side
punch
scroll,
everyone who comes at you.
minimum.
Like the Scott
Background
Pilgrim
movement. Yeah,
versus the World.
yeah.
Actually, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That was super popular. Why on
right.
earth did that go
Oh
away?
wait, there's that King's Knight.
The Final
the Final
King's
Fantasy
Tale.
Fantasy
King's Tale.
15.
How was he-
King's-
But I just think they sucked it up and didn't make a good one.
it wasn't bad. I didn't dislike it. I've never really been into beat 'em ups personally. That's part of the reason why I was done with it. you know, after about 2 hours. But in terms of like what it was, like it's pretty solid.
Yeah,
like, wasn't terrible at all.
It's just like, why did it get such bad reviews everywhere I saw?
Did it get bad reviews? I didn't even see.
I think it's I'm not even gonna say the Metacritic score because number one, I don't remember exactly what it is.
We'll let you
Number two,
guys
I
tell
think
us
freaking
the
number scores are
Metacritic.
stupid. But
Yeah.
anyways, it appeared to be panned pretty wide. But maybe those were people upset about other things, like this isn't. I can't just go buy this. I have to.
Oh, that's true.
That's right.
Give them a bad score. I don't know. But Streets of Rage, dude, that'd be sick. Streets of Rage, not 2. 4.
Streets of Rage. Actually,
Right?
was
1,
there?
2, 3.
Wait, there was a recent. I think there was a recent release.
A recent Streets of Rage.
I think it was Streets
Was
of
it a
Rage 4.
re-release or was it a re?
I think Streets of Rage 4 came out
Really?
recently. If it's not
Okay.
that, then it's some other beat 'em up game.
Someone says Streets of Rage remake. This is this somebody else? Sega shuts down Monsters Streets of Rage remake project a couple years
Maybe it
back.
wasn't Streets of Rage. Maybe it was another beat 'em up
Golden
game.
Axe,
But
Ninja
I
Turtles.
swear that there
Ninja
was
Turtles
one
was
that came
so-
out
those beat 'em ups
recently.
were fun.
It was Double Dragon. I think that's what
Oh,
it
is that
was.
what it was?
Double
Isn't
Dragon.
that?
Is
was
that
that?
Sega? I don't know.
I don't think it's Sega, but
Konami.
Double Dragon
That does
4.
sound like a Konami. But,
Double Dragon 4. Did that come out recently?
it's on here.
Double Dragon 4.
Looks like
Konami's all about those
very
dragons.
mediocre game, I suppose. That's this year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
What is this year? Double Dragon 4. Is it
Cool.
worth it? Survey says no.
Okay, well,
Well, dudes. Thank you, the Colonel. That was a good question.
Yeah, thank you very
on
much.
Monday, we're gonna have the
Lost
video.
in translation, yeah.
It's gonna be done on Monday. Look forward to that. Lost in translation on Monday, so we'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to watch our videos on YouTube, find us at Dark Pixel Gaming. Or we actually have a new video coming out soon on the main channel.
Yep.
It's gonna be good. It's finished right now, sort of. There might be a couple things we add to it, but it'll be up soon. So watch out for that.
Yep.
Otherwise, have a great week and weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Peace out.
See ya.
Peace.